Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Zeph Films community. This is Zeph Films, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Demorecord tutorial. And everything that we've learned in the past 3 episodes all lead up to this, the creation of your own little video. In this episode, I'm going to be taking you through the camera path editor. And you know what? Fuck it. Let's jump right into this. So, as you remember in episode number, it's either 1 or 2, I say once you load up your demo file, let it play through to the end, hit pause, hit the back button, then play, and then let it load up to about 4 or 5 seconds, so all the assets load up in the space where you've taken the demo file. So obviously you know all the controls up here in the top left corner, and for you guys to see this better, I've reduced my resolution down from the 4K down to 1920 by 1080, although this video is being uploaded at a resolution of 1280 by 720, but I had to lower the resolution so you can see the interface a lot better. I found that before on the 4K resolution, everything was a lot harder to see, so hopefully you guys can see everything easier. So you know the controls here: back, play, pause, fast forward, forward. These first three are pretty much the only ones that you're going to really use. Now, as you can see here, you see camera path editor and transparent. Clicking the box beside transparent makes the toolbar disappear. I don't make it transparent myself very often. But if you wanted to, I guess you could, but it makes working on stuff really hard. Plus, when you go to capture your playback, you're still going to see all this stuff. But in episode number 5, I will go through a little bit of some tricks that you can do to hide this bar for your playback. All right, the one above transparent is camera path editor. Clicking that brings up this thing here, all in gray. Yeah, let's jump into this. Pretty much what I'm going to show you is what I do pretty much every single video. It's pretty basic. There is more advanced tools to use, but I am a firm believer in the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And I also believe that you should stick with what works for you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right, so first thing, you're going to click the Add Path button, which is going to bring up a separate window. And if you click the drop down, there's a bunch of different paths. There's easy path, normal path, orbit, look around, watch entity, shadow entity. In this episode, all I'm going to show you is easy path. I don't play around with these other ones too much. I've maybe used orbit once or twice in my entire, I'm going to say, filming career, if you can call that. But every single thing that you've seen me put out there, 99.8% of it has been all using easy path. So that'll be the default when you hit add path. So keep it at easy path, hit OK. All right, so a bunch of things are going to pop up over here on the right hand side. I don't play with any of these values too much. You're going to see camera positions. You're going to look at position window here, reset path speeds. The button that you're going to be using the most is the add point button. So using the stuff that we learned from episode number 2, the controls. So, and episode number 3, commands. So let's play with some field of view. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a path that kind of simulates this moment. Oh my God, this movement. So we're going to be looking at the front quarter of the ship. Actually, before I do anything, this is sometimes when transparent is good. When you're trying to line up a shot, you notice how you have all this stuff in the way. You can hit the transparent button and it'll help you kind of line things up a little bit better. But as you can see, it's just such a pain in the ass to try and work with any of the settings over here on the right. But yeah. And I'm going to try my best to show you guys this and try my best to explain it. I've just gotten to the point where I just do, and I don't really think about what I'm doing. I'm more focused on the camera path that I'm working on. But yeah, fuck it, let's do this. All right, so I'm going to set up my first shot for here. Add point. Now, as I was saying in the earlier episodes, usually from the time marker 0 seconds to about 4 seconds, that's when all the assets are being loaded and fully coming to life. So what I normally do, so once you see I've clicked add point, you scroll down, you'll see time and hold. Don't worry about path time or path move time, just worry about this portion here. So I typically hold 4 seconds. You can do 5 if you want. And what it'll do is it'll hold at this first camera point 1, and it'll stay there for up until 5 seconds, as you can see here. And then once it hit 5 seconds, it'll look for the next point and start moving to it. So this is my first starting point. So 5 seconds. Then I'm going to use my controls to kind of move. Click add. So now you'll see hold of 5 seconds, and then it's going to be, actually I'm going to change this to, let's do 10 seconds. Nice even numbers. So it's going to hold at point 1 up until 5 seconds. Once 5 seconds gets achieved, it's going to move towards point 2, and it's going to reach point 2 at the 10-second mark. So there's going to be a 5-second path move time. All right, so there's 5 seconds of footage. Now, always make sure once you edit the time values, you click out. I usually just right-click once before I go to move, or you'll start adding letters and stuff when you're trying to, kind of like when you go to, you're in the chat program during an ISA and you forget to click out, and all of a sudden you just see people type like long AAA. That's what's happening. That is what will happen. All right, so now we're going to move over to another point. Let's put it here. Actually, add point. And let's do this one for 15 seconds. So it'll make it to point number 3 at 15-second mark. We'll leave that one at 18. And this one, let's do it for 20. All right, so you have point 1 holding until it hits the 5-second mark, and then it'll get released. Then it'll get to your second point at the 10-second mark, which you'll see here. And then it'll move to point number 3, and it'll reach that destination at 15 seconds. Then it'll reach your next destination at 18 seconds. And then it'll finally reach the last camera point at 15 seconds. Another cool thing to see is this red section here is the camera path. This will automatically go away once you uncheck the camera path editor at the top. You see, it's gone now. And then when you click it, it'll show up there. But you can see these points represent where the camera is looking at its given time. And then that is where the camera is going to be moving. That blue mark is the where the kind of like a camera rail, and these are the camera look points. But all right. Next thing to remember is once you've laid out your points, to scroll up and click the save button. If you don't click the save button, it ain't going to do nothing. Very important. Save. ABS. Always be saving. Once you're done, uncheck camera path editor. Hit the back button. Give it some time. Press play. One thing to note, usually on your very first camera path that you're doing, any commands that you run like field of view 20, show game UI 0, you need to rerun the command and then to bring those settings back. Once you do it a second time after you reload your camera path, it'll stay like that until you change its value. So we're going to change field of view back to 20. All right, so just keep an eye up here. So play, 3 second, 4 second, 5 seconds, it starts moving. Let's reach second point at 10 seconds. Point 3 at 15. Next point at 18. And last point, 20, where it stops. And then you press the pause button. Now that's a very rough path for me. I usually like to keep things more fluid and smooth. I tried to, I don't know if you noticed how once it hit the 10-second mark, it kind of picked up in speed, or was it the 5-second mark? I can't remember. But yeah, you got to play around with the timing a lot. One thing I usually do is I tweak with the path move time. So from 5 seconds to 20 seconds is 15 seconds of actual movement. So you can tweak that number there. So say I want the total time to be 20 seconds. Click out. It'll automatically adjust all the camera path times to accommodate for how long you want the move time to be. But if you find yourself buggered up and you want to start all over, you go up, click delete path, and then save. All right, and let's make another path. Let's try and make this one smoother. Actually, you know what? One thing you want to try and avoid is really, really, really fast paths. For example, let's go add point. Let's make it 4 seconds. And add points. Yeah, let's do that. So it says 4 seconds. Let's see how this turns out. Really fast paths can result in choppy. And watch it make a liar out of me this time. Play in 4 seconds. I don't know if you noticed a little bit of choppiness. It figures it makes a liar out of me. There was a little bit of a chop. But if you start playing around with the render scale while you're trying to do video, then you're more prone to choppiness, because obviously, as I mentioned in the previous episode with render scale, the actual resolution in game is a higher resolution. Therefore, textures are more vivid, and even doing a slow, smooth path can make it kind of choppy. So be cautious. Don't be afraid of playing around. I guess like it's one thing to watch me do it here. I would strongly encourage you to go into Demorecord and trying it for yourself. Try fast paths, try slow paths, find what works for you. I've found in the past, mainly because I got a new card now too, so I find fast moving, panning shots like that sometimes there'll be a stutter in it, and I like keeping quality in my shots. I'm going to show another thing, though, because I remember somebody asked somewhere, I can't remember if it was in the comments or in whatchamacallit, on Twitter, somebody wanted to see how I go about tracking a moving path. So, I'm going to say this right off the bat. If you want to track your own ship and it's flying at full impulse, you're going to have a bad time. It's not that easy. But let's track this Excelsior, because it is moving. So add path, easy path, okay. Add points. I'm going to hold this camera until, make sure everything's loaded first. So I'm going to hold the camera here until 4.962, and then I'm going to play. I'm going to let it go for a little bit, then pause, move the camera, and then take note of the time index of where I paused it, and then add a point, and then put in the time where I paused it, so 7.685, play, and move the camera again, maybe do some, start coming around to the front of the ship, add points, 10.894, hit play again. So on some of the Fresh Out of Space Dock videos that you've seen where I've done action, this is what I've done during those battle scenes where I'd go into like Starbase 24 and I'll start up Demorecord, like I'll run the command to start firing the oh my god. So I'll fire up Starbase 24 and I'll fire up Demorecord, and I'll just start flying around, blowing shit up as it's saving everything. And then I'll load it up into Demorecord, and then I will literally just follow my ship as I'll follow my ship as it blows stuff up, and I will literally do this. This is a more simpler one that I'm doing. But I have done paths where there was about, oh god, I want to say I've done paths where there was at least 50 camera points before. It's a lot of work. But I aim to please. I love entertaining you guys. You guys love my stuff. And I honestly, I want to, and I'm going to talk about this in maybe an upcoming blog. Because, oh crap, where'd it go? Because, I would love to do this kind of video stuff as like a full-time thing, like just be able to sit at home and just do cinematic videos, whether it be strictly for Star Trek Online or trying to figure something out for another game. Like I've been trying to think about doing a like my own little unofficial trailer for Mass Effect Andromeda, and using all the trailer footage that they've had in there and kind of splice it up, change up the music a little bit, and just do my own thing. I would love to be able to just do this kind of stuff on YouTube and not have to worry about going to a job that's just sucking me dry as of late. But yeah, that's a conversation for another blog as I sit here and drop points. There we go. All right. So, as I was rambling, so pretty much all I've done is I'd press play, then hit the pause button, move the camera to where I want to be looking at that particular time where I paused, drop a camera point, and then change the time to that pause time. So as you can see here, we're on point number 12, which it's going to be my last point for this one. and its time is 33.999, which is where I paused it here, 33.999. You see here, the entire path time is 33.999 because that's the time index. That's how far into the file we are. The path move time is 29.037. That is because I held the first point up until 4.962 seconds before there's any movement. All right, so let's see how this turned out. So I'm gonna press save. One thing to note on the save button, if you see an asterisk beside it, that means that there's been a change made that has not been saved. So if you see that, make sure you click the save button before doing anything else. Just for fun, let's zoom out a little bit here. Take a look at the camera path. So the blue is where the camera is going to be moving. The red is all the points where it's looking at. It looks a little sloppy, but let's see how it looks when we hit back and then play. So you can see everything's loading in. Tracking. Obviously my shot's a little bit off because I was more concerned with talking than actually focusing on the thing, but I just wanted to give you guys the general idea of how I personally go about doing shots where I'm tracking a ship. It might not necessarily be the correct way to do it. It might not necessarily be the easiest way to do it. I have tried playing around with Shadow Entity and Watch Entity, and I couldn't wrap my head around it, to be totally honest with you. So I make do with what I have. Sometimes I have to kind of redo the shot because I'll do a playback and I'll find that it's shifting too much and it's not really a steady shot, so it might make my life a little bit more difficult, but that is pretty much how you go about laying down a camera path in Demorecord. And I think this is going to be an end for episode number 4. If you do have any questions, please feel free to rewatch this episode and maybe just press mute and watch what I'm doing on the right hand side here with the controls. Again, with this stuff, I'm not a teacher by any means. I'm a doer. I learn a lot by just looking and doing myself. If you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I will try my best to answer them, or maybe address them in a future video or something like that. Yeah, I'm going to bring this episode to a close. Thank you very much for watching. Episode number 5 should be coming out shortly. Trademark soon. And in that one, I'm just going to be talking about software that you can use to capture your playbacks, and maybe a couple of tips and tricks, like how to hide this bar up here while you're doing playback, and maybe talk about a couple of options for video editing that are free, because I know some of the more professional stuff can be expensive. But yeah, thank you again for watching. I hope to God that this is helpful for somebody out there. If you want to play with it and you do know how to capture and edit and stuff like that, please go ahead, try your own camera path, upload it, drop a link to the upload in the comment section, and let me see it. That's your homework, though you can choose to do that homework whether you want to or not. I'm not gonna judge you if you don't. But if you wanted to do homework, that's your homework. Open up Demorecord, apply everything that I've shown you in the past 4 episodes, and see if you can do a 10 to 20-second video, and show me what you can get. Show me what you got. All right. Other than that, I'm Zeph Films. Thank you very much. Have a good night.